This though, starting out, be respectful in the chat. I have mods. I'm not warning people to be adults. I shouldn't have to warn people to be adults, and be respectful. You won't get warned. My mods are gonna block you immediately if that's what happens.
In the dim, echoing hall of public opinion, where personal trials and tangled mysteries intersect, enters Cam from Crackin Cases, a YouTuber who once centers his channel on missing persons and crime investigation. Now, the camera's lens turns inward, catching a personal saga unfurling in real time. A contested battle with child welfare authorities, the fragile strings of addiction and accusations of state-driven motives all laid bare. Cam claims that the state removed his children, wielding children's services and the courts as levers not of concern but of financial gain. A bureaucratic machine profiting, he implies, from family hardship. He and his wife, their lies woven with these allegations, have reemerged online in an apparent victory. Their child, returned, the system for now circumvented. Yet as we speak to his audience, old questions shadow the relief on his face.
So if you were following us before, you know they did an investigation where they went and spoke to our kids unannounced at the school. They spoke to, we didn't know about it. Kids didn't know they were coming, and they closed the investigation quite quickly. Well, the same worker was in court, and they said in a 2-month period that all this drastic things changing. I will admit to my problems and my faults. It got way worse after my kids were removed, and I admit to that fully. But I've been into treatment for, and her as well, for over 6 months, and we're doing great. And I want people to know immediately right now, medically, or what is it called?
Medically assisted treatment.
Medically assisted or medication assisted treatment. It's okay if that's your walk to sobriety and it helps you to do okay. Then don't let anybody judge you. Don't let anybody bring you down. And it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. It's how you can function in life and do it well and live your best life, right? But this is the main thing I want to talk about. So our kids were removed in July from our care.
End of July.
End of July. There was not an investigation done on our house, anything, until the day before so it was what? When was that? Weeks. Then they came the day before. Help me with the dates.
July 23rd is when the kids left. They were not contacted. CPS was contacted August 3rd or 4th or something like that.
Yeah.
It had been like a week and a half. And then we didn't find out about it till like August 7th. And we were in court by August 10th.
Yeah, August 10th.
No, August 10th, we had the meeting.
Yeah. And I say that, if I need to fix anything in my life, I don't think it should. It definitely didn't need to the extent that it was taken to. But I'll say this: there was an investigation done, and to where the kids were in the house and they were seen in their environment. That never happened. They never saw that. The only thing that they could say bad in court at the emergency custody hearing was that we had one cluttered counter. One cluttered counter is what they said in our house. Okay, and then
that one cluttered counter also was our son's little action figures that he had put out there to sit, which we had left them the way he had it. Because
I'm not blaming anything on anybody. I'm happy. Look, my kids are well taken care of, and I'm happy. I'm happy that they're doing well where they're at right now. That's not what I'm saying at all. Yeah. I just don't think that. I think that a lot of things were made into. Help me. It was blown way out of proportion. Yeah. Way fast. Yeah. And I'm going to talk about everything that's happened in my life, and it's not I'm good with God and what's going on in my life, and I know what's happened. And I'll tell you this, I've had a burnt hand that happened to me at my mother-in-law's house cleaning a bee's nest out.
Yellow jackets, actually.
Yellow jackets to be specific. Okay. I had to go to Wake Forest, to the burn center because I had 3rd-degree burns on my hand. If you've seen my videos, I showed you where I did that. We didn't have a pot to piss in, didn't have a dime to our name, and these people that are. I'll cover this first because I don't want to go off on any tangents yet. But I appreciate anybody and everybody that stood behind us and helped us through our hard time. but at the same time, like to turn around and throw that up in our face and say that we are grifters or anything like that, I strongly disagree with you. I appreciate your help, but you don't need, I didn't come and beg you for it. You offered to help us. And if by all means, when we get back on our feet, I will start working to help pay back anything that anybody thinks that I owe them or she owes them.
Yeah.
But we didn't ask for it. We said, hey, if you want to help towards this cause and this, and you know us, then here it is. I didn't ask or beg anybody. And I appreciate the help that was given us. And I love each and every person that did, but I was really hurt when things were switched up behind. We lost our home. We had a vehicle blow up, head gasket blow up. We've lost everything. But anyway, I was coming back from the burn center in Wake Forest, and we fell asleep at a rest area. And if you saw that I got a charge for intoxicated in public, that was not the case. That is actually a fine in the state of Virginia. A cop only has to say appear in public in an intoxicated manner. If you're asleep, they just have to say, they don't have to prove it. They just have to say you look like it. That was a fine. It's 3 hours at a holding cell, and I was sent home.
Yeah.
All there is to it. Anyway, got a job, working my butt off. Had a steady living situation there. Do you want to go into that?
Which part?
I don't know. I'm not going to say anything that's going to hurt my case or hurt her case as we're going through this. But I want everybody to know that we appreciate the prayers, first and foremost.
So.
And I just don't believe everything you hear on here. Because, like I said, we don't owe anybody an explanation. But if you know us and you know who we are, then you know the truth. And that's all I have to say.
In the backdrop of Cam's familiar narrative of unresolved cases, the camera picks up new nuances, the glazed expression, the occasional slur, the repetition of details about long-ago cases. Is it lingering exhaustion? A remnant of trauma? Or the echoes of addiction that continue to wrestle for control? Cam's words drift from the present to the past, back to a missing child's case, as if holding onto his role as investigator and truth teller will stabilize the swirling turmoil beneath. He's telling a tale that both his and is not his. It's the state's tale too. The complicated dance of concern, authority. Is this the story of a parent reclaiming his life, his family? Or is it a modern myth where addiction and authority clash, each side struggling to write the next chapter? Ah, Cam, the modern-day hero wrapped in a trigomatic cloak of his own self-inflicted misadventures. The scene unfolds as he stands, a disheveled figure on YouTube, his voice hoarse with desperation, and the faint scent of gasoline still hanging in the air, figuratively, and, one imagines, literally. The tale he spins, a warning, albeit a painfully ironic one. He burnt his hand with gasoline, all in the noble cause of the battling yellow jackets. Those tiny, furious creatures that inspired such unwarranted heroism. Cam's rationale, one shrouded in a peculiar blend of recklessness and bravado, seems clear only to him. He was going to rid his territory of these buzzing nuisances, yes, but his wisdom, he decided that gasoline was the weapon of choice. Fire, of course, followed shortly thereafter. But why light the gasoline, Cam? Why ignite the volatile fuel when its fumes alone could have been sufficient? Surely someone should have whispered this simple elementary fact to him, or better yet, told him to step back, put down the matches and reconsider. But no. Instead, there he is, Cam, desperate, his hand a mess of singed skin and burnt pride, bleeding the cost of a mistake so basic it almost hurts to recount. A critical misstep in judgment. One could chalk it up to a momentary lapse, a miscalculation of human condition's impulse for shortcuts. But it's more. It's a tragedy of ego. It's a clash between ignorance and stubbornness. It's the kind of reckless energy one might expect from someone who smokes while holding gasoline. The very same person who would dare to post the outcome for public viewing, then beg for the mercy of monetary donations. You see, Cam wants money. Funds, he claims, to cover his medical bills and somehow justify the fallout of his fire starter fiasco. And oh, the appeal. Oh, the appeal is as flawed as the logic. Does he genuinely expect sympathy from an audience that has watched him spiral into absurdity, his implosion unfolding with the same fatalistic predictability of a cheap melodrama? Cam, in his own curious way, asks for respect too. He expects respect from the audience, but respect isn't born from self-inflicted wounds or from the desperate performative plea for financial aid after having disregarded every ounce of common sense. Respect is earned, not demanded. It's not handed out like charity after one's own reckless disregard for simple safety. You don't beg for respect when you're shown none of your own well-being, let alone to those who might in their bewilderment be moved to contribute. But here he stands, a man with burned hands, a raw appeal, and a fresh case study in how not to navigate life's perilous journeys. Will his audience continue to indulge him, or will they find the audacity of his request and the laughable nature of his self-inflicted wounds too much to swallow? Perhaps, after all, it's not the yellow jackets that Cam should be worried about. It's the self-inflicted sting of pride that might leave the desperate mark.
I just don't believe everything you hear on here. Because, like I said, we don't owe anybody an explanation. But if you know us and you know who we are, then you know the truth. And that's all I have to say. And I'm not going to have to go into it. I do appreciate, I know my kids are being well taken care of and everything, but I just don't, I think that the state took way drastic measures. And one thing I will say is the first thing they said to us when we went in there was to shut down our channel. Shut this down.
That was the very first thing that they said to us, and they were adamant about it. The paperwork that we got the very first visit that we had with them, it just talked about the channel so much, which was insane.
Yeah. And so that happened in July. We weren't even given our first drug screen until October.
And we tried.
We tried and we asked. And it was not given to us. So and this is how they're and people can run with it. I know that another channel, I'm not even going to give them any kind of name call out or anything because they don't deserve it. But one channel tried to run with lies, said that I failed urine screen. Well, the one that they said I failed was sent off to the lab and it came back as all negative. The one before that they tried, their test had false positives and run with. I have documentation of all of that.
Yes.
We have attorneys. Thank God for the person who did help us pay for our attorneys. We greatly appreciate that, and thank you so much. But I'll just say it hurt my soul for how it was turned around and made to look like that using somebody. No, they offered to pay for that, and I thank them so much. I mean, I cried on the phone for 3 hours when they offered to help us with attorneys. But that person also knows who we are. We're not bad people. We never claimed. Why would we be in a profession try to help find missing children, which we have successfully accomplished helping find two? Why would we do that if we're in the business of hurting our own? That's not true. And the way that we were charged with this is because of what is called a exposure hair testing, not ingestion, exposure, and was not done until 4 weeks out of our care. The kids were out of our care for 4 weeks. The exposure hair testing can be from somebody hand sweating, running in their hair, a handle to a store, a buggy, a gas pump, anything, sebum, sweat from the hand. 4 weeks out of our care. I'm sorry, but no, the chain of custody too. These are facts. These are all things that are on paper, facts that nobody saw them collect the hair sample either. Where's the chain of custody? I will speak about facts. That's it. I'm not going to go into detail on my case. Thank you. Thank you so much for the people that do understand us and do know us. Like I said, I'm not going to put up with the slander and anything anymore. I just want to tell people how much I appreciate you, how much we love you, how much the prayers mean. And why would we how many times have y'all seen this channel not ask for a thing? We weren't running banners. We weren't until things got hard. We said, hey, if you want to help us. We weren't in this for money. We never been in this for money. It helped us to have an income to support our family for a while.
The picture Cam and Allie paint is a peculiar one, layered in shades of deflection and denial, all projected through the flickering frame of a YouTube live stream. They appear there, claiming their children are in a better place. Their tone is unconvincing as the assurance themselves. The better place they refer to is the state's care, a far cry, many would agree, from a loving family home, but when addiction, deception, and the blurring lines of reality and performance meet, sometimes even home can become an unwelcome truth. In the background of their narrative is an ultimatum, one issued by Children's Services, a call to sobriety and stability, not only from substance, but from the addictive lure of live streaming, where every click, every donation keeps the adrenaline and the attention flowing. But for Cam and Allie, it seems the stakes of that mandate slipped past. Lost in the online drama and relentless pursuit of clicks instead of finding ground in reality, focusing on their family. They continued to chase after their next video, the next update that might convince viewers to reach into their wallets and believe once more in a fabricated crusade for justice. What about the $15,000 that vanished in the name of legal expenses from Miss Danny? The funds they claimed were for a noble pursuit, to right some wrongs, to pursue truth, yet even now those promised outcomes remained as elusive as the credibility they've lost. It was a performance, a conjuring of concern that dissolved as the dollars disappeared. And so, they've returned, doubling down, planting comments in the live chats and video threads, affirming to any who will listen that their children are back under their care. The truth, however, seems harder to believe, tangled in a web of broken promises and shifting stories. Skepticism lingers, and rightfully so. For Cam's track record reads more like a tale of the boy he cried wolf, his pleas for trust long worn thin by the echo of past manipulations. It's an unsettling stage they've set, where reality bends to fit their story, where YouTube ends, its audience are used to bridge the gaps left by fractured intentions and unkept promises. But in the quiet between the live streams, one question remains. When the spectacle fades, where is the truth? And more pressingly, where is the integrity a parent should bring when standing up for their child's well-being? Only time will tell whether Cam and Allie can rise above the shadows cast by their own actions. Until then, perhaps the only certainty is that ones who deserve honesty, the children, are left waiting for the parents they need, not the performance that would have grown weary of watching.
And that was all good and grand. But if people want to call us grifters, that this channel hasn't been on in months. I do a short, maybe every other week, maybe. I'm not here to plead my innocence. I'm in here to say this is the truth, believe it or not. If you know us, then you know who we are. This woman right here, she's done the right thing her whole life. Went to school, got a degree, did all that to just now to not be able to use that to better our lives. To have a charge means you can't, it's not even just a conviction, there's no conviction, but to have a charge in the nursing field, it's not happening, it's not possible. I ask that each and everybody that's in here right now pray for us, first and foremost. I don't want anything from anybody but prayer. Prayer. God will bring us through this. And I even heard a few people say, don't run to God now. When is a good time to run to God?
Yeah.
Now for the receipt part of the program, Cam. You see this, if you look on your screen right now, you see above my head, I think this is the one. Or way down here, let's go down here. Crackin Cases. See this? He says, thanks guys, we are blessed and we are showing the court who was the strong and who was the manipulating the courts for financial gain. This isn't the one I want you to see, this is the one. You look just below me, you'll see old Cam, Crackin Cases. Smoking Crackin Cases. Here's a little secret. Got the babies back. Why would it be such a secret you got your kids back? And why would you be in a YouTube live chat telling secrets? If not to spread the illusion that you guys are just such responsible parents. You're anything but. We watch you guys on your live streams. You're inebriated.
To come on here and clear something up and spread the truth.
Guys, wanted to do a quick update with you guys. So, as I told you before, all this stuff that me and Allie were charged with did not come to pass. We were not found guilty. We were not convicted. And, well, actually, be dismissed after a certain period of time. So all the naysayers and people that were hating and thinking they knew so much about our situation, they were wrong.
In the dim lit corners of YouTube, Cam and Allie continue their broadcast, painting a narrative crafted not by clarity, but by the subtle art of omission. They tell their audience that all charges have been dropped, waving off the legal clouds as if they emerged wholly vindicated. Yet, the truth beneath this glossy veneer tells a different story, a far starker one. In reality, they didn't receive a clean slate. They entered a no-contest plea to charges of child abuse. It's a plea that speaks volumes, standing somewhere between an admission and a denial, a strange limbo where one doesn't openly acknowledge guilt but accepts the consequences all the same. By choosing this path, they may have sidestepped a formal confession, but it's no vindication, no symbol of exoneration. Rather, it's an acknowledgement that something was wrong, whether they'll admit it publicly or not. Cam and Allie's reluctance to be transparent reveals a deeper struggle, the resistance to face their own story in full. Instead, they weave a narrative of dropped charges and public misunderstanding as if the truth could be neatly swept away, replaced with a version they're more comfortable sharing. But growth, real change, it starts with honesty. Without it, they're caught in the cycle of half-truths, circling back to the same issues, the same deflections, leaving their viewers still with a narrative that's a shell of reality. The truth is, no real transformation can begin while they continue to sidestep accountability. It's a lesson, perhaps, that honesty, painful as it may be, is the only bridge to redemption. But until Cam and Allie can embrace the full story, the one that exists beyond the live stream and the curated confessions, their plea, their no contest, will stand as a silent echo of the truths they continue to evade. And for now, they remain in that limbo, performing for an audience while the reality of their story lingers in the shadows, waiting.
For real, just got out of jail. And I ran for rehab because of a probation violation. I was scared. And this was my nurse.
I was a student nurse there.
I wasn't looking for anybody. I saw her and I fell in love with her just looking at her.
Literally, that's what the room that we were in. So whenever they were like giving people their medicines and things,
Because
see,
you never know.
you don't.
When two become one, so much more than marriage. Because I just got out of jail. For real, just got out of jail.
Before I go any farther, I myself got into treatment and have been in treatment for going on 3 months now. And the judge told me he was very proud of me and my wife because we weren't forced to. We did it, just go the extra mile for my kids. And Danny offered to pay for those attorneys. We didn't ask her, but I damn sure appreciated it, and it was a blessing. Look, I'm a lot of things, but a child abuser and a fucking grifter is not one of them. I try to be a good person. I mean, why would I go out and try to help find missing children to then hurt my own? I never put them on a screen or anything. Allie wasn't on lives because she was watching the kids most of the time. I mean, this shit's. I'll be honest with you. Danny I was very close to her, and
Decent young couple. I did not see signs of them being on any substances. I could be wrong. Maybe there was stuff going on then.
moving everybody around to where they need to be, and I'm not going to go any further into that. Just we have family life too, but so we're there late. It's about 11 o'clock, 11:30 my time. So we're sitting there and we're just talking, and there's nobody in this parking lot. And a van pulls up beside us with the windows down, and a guy pops his head out, smoking a cigarette, and starts talking to Allie. And what's he say to you? This is because I was over on the passenger side. I don't think he saw.
I heard it too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Benny was on FaceTime with me.
And when he pulled up
I think he had to have been either drinking or he was on some sort of substance, yes. And so he pulls up and he was mumbling and you couldn't really understand what he was saying. But he said something about, I was looking for a maroon van. And then we were like, okay. And I said, well, I haven't seen anything like that. And he goes, well, did you say you're from Pikeville? And we were like, no, we never said where we were from. And then the next thing we know, he's talking about how he likes to party. And he said,
like to do about everything. He said, I like to do about everything. He said, we can go on down to Beach Creek. And Allison shot her head out the window.
I went out that window and I was like, did you say
get on
Beach?
And, I've stated before in our videos, I'm not one to believe in coincidence. I'm sitting there, I don't know. I don't want to go that far yet, but I'm just wanting to tell you what happened. And Benny, you heard every bit of it because you started yelling. He said, did he just say Beach Creek? And I said, yeah, he did. And, I just feel like maybe that with everything that's been going on through this, you were tripping out, man.
Like, did somebody pull up to you?
Yeah, and we were, I didn't know how to handle it, and so I told Allison, I said, just pull off right now. We go down to the McDonald's parking lot, go around the McDonald's park facing this Priceless parking lot, and we watch this van circle 5 times around the parking lot. And then he goes to where he points his headlights straight at us. He turns his headlights off. I see his door open, closed, and he starts flashing his lights at us. And I'm like, what is going on? I didn't understand. It's suspect. I mean, if you, I don't know where to go with that. I'm sitting there and I'm just lost. I'm like, what are the chances that we come in to Hawkins County? Because half of Kingsport, Sullivan County, half is Hawkins County, or City of Kingsport, Hawkins County. And I said, go ahead and pull up your navigation and see how far we are from Beach Creek. Well, were we 10?
We were not far. We were right at where you turn to go down it. We were 5 miles from where the turnoff was to go down?
Yeah.
Something like that.
5 miles to turn. And that's, that's the first part of everything we want to talk about here. When I was talking about that, go ahead.
We didn't know what to think of that. That was just odd. And we don't know if it has any kind of relevance to summer or anything, but it was just odd that would happen as soon as we got down there. And it just threw us for a loop, to say the least.
Yeah, hold on a second.
And I want to address the sniffles.
Okay, so a couple observations here.
His family does, and the name of his significant other was a Gorley. I haven't got to go as far as I need to down there yet. Thank you, Hair Curlers in Crime, for becoming a member. Hair Gal, you're awesome. Thank you. You did a very good job on your presentation of the RSOs and putting all that together in an easy way to follow on whiteboard. That was awesome. If y'all haven't checked out that channel right there, Hair Curlers in Crime, you need to go do so. They're doing a good job. So this is where it's getting crazy, and I'm gonna show you more about it. Okay, so we all knew that Carly Trent's case has always been strange. The property where Carly Trent was found was on Donnie Lawson's property, right? We've never been able to pin down 100% that Donnie Lawson's property could have possibly been Ronnie Lawson's brother. It's been speculated, but it's been hard to nail that down to be like 100% on. But that's where she was found, was on Donnie Lawson's property by the news story said, and we're talking about Carly Trent, by 4 different men, right? They were out searching that property. One man does a TV interview on top of a mountain where they had service, and a tip comes in, not the feds, not Hawkins County, not TBI, but these four individuals that are just random citizens searching gets a tip that Carly is out on Donnie Lawson's property, and they find her there. Okay, there's that. Then you go and look at what happened. None of these men accepted the reward money. It wanted to go back into the town. It goes to all these different organizations and puts a sighting on a 90-year-old woman's house. All this, okay? Now, listen to this. So, Brandon Lawson's wife, Brandon Lawson being the son of Sheriff Lawson, his wife, Michelle, is related to Carly Trent. Now, I'm not going to say how, but that's where the tie is in there. I'm not going to say related. I'm going to say I'm going to say that's how I can't.
She may.
So what we may have found, until I can say 100%, is either an aunt. It's been said aunt / sister, that close to Carly, somewhere very like that. So I'm trying to pin that down, but that's right there. That leads me to believe that this kind of thing, thank you, Jess, I appreciate that so much. That leads me in background, Allie.
Thank you.
Judy Johnson says you're correct, Cam. Thank you. Now, before I move on to get to how this relates to Summer's case, it does. The oldest missing persons case in Hawkins County is a man named James Trent from the early 90s or late 80s. Okay. Carly's dad is also named James Trent. Then Carly potentially went missing for, possibly could have been forever. Then Summer is now missing. There are the Manis and the Mox, which are Mary Sixons that live right there behind Don Wells on 110 Ben Hill, are all, there's many of them that work directly for Sheriff Lawson and Hawkins County Sheriff's Department. You have Roy Contz on 249 that knows Sheriff Lawson, 249 Ben Hill. That's where he used to own. You have Stewart, who owns lots of property on Ben Hill Road.
So there you have it, a tangled web of claims, contradictions, and unanswered questions, where the lines between truth and performance blur. As viewers, we're left wondering who really benefits from these live streams, these pleas, these calls for trust. In the end, it's the children, innocent and offstage, who are the true heart of this story, waiting for stability that no donation, no camera, no comment can provide. Let's remember to look past the drama and demand transparency, not for us, but for those who can't ask for it for themselves. And as always, stay discerning, stay informed, and keep asking the hard questions. Until next time.